our guest studio today, we have Dr. Vanita Releford. Our show is a little different today, so we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Our guest was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. In 1969, she received her BA degree from Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee. In 1975, she was awarded the Juris Doctorate degree from Thurgood Marshall School of Law. She taught courses for preparation for the GED test and the Black History course at the U.S. Army Educational Center in Freiburg, Germany. While attending law school, she taught English as a second language at Houston Community College and taught courses in both Spanish and law at Southwest College. She is currently teaching business law, civil rights in the law, also law and the media at Los Angeles City College. Will you please welcome my guest, Ms. Dr. Vanita Releford. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Nice to meet you.
Dr. Releford, what inspired you to teach law?
Well, actually, my father is a lawyer, and all my life I was kind of brought up in a law environment. And my mother was a community college instructor. So I was brought up with a law background and a teaching background, and I always wanted to go into law, but never really to practice law, only to teach. So after I got my BA from Fisk, I began teaching, and I enjoyed teaching very much, but I only wanted to teach on the college level. So I decided to go back to school and go to law school so that I could teach law, because you have to have a law degree in most schools to teach law. So I went back to school in Houston and got the law degree and began teaching law shortly thereafter.
Could you briefly describe civil rights in the law and what is it so that our listeners may know?
Sure. One of my classes here at City College is called Law 3, or Civil Rights Law. And actually, it's a social science fulfillment that is transferable to UC and UCLA, and it meets the requirements for students here who need a social science class. And civil rights is actually constitutional law. In law school, we were taught a class called constitutional law, where we studied the Bill of Rights, the amendments to the Constitution, all the constitutional and Supreme Court cases. So in civil rights law, I teach to my students the same basic things that we learned in constitutional law. We talk about the First Amendment's freedom of speech and press, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendments, and all the amendments to the Constitution, which of course are called the Bill of Rights. So civil rights law basically deals with the Bill of Rights amendments to the United States Constitution. It's a very controversial class too, because many of the issues we touch on are issues such as life, which would include abortion and the death penalty. We also talk about family, which is very hard to define nowadays. What is really a family? And that gets into ramifications like child abuse, what happens to parents when they cannot take care of their children, or what is a family when the state has to step in and take over. We also talk about environmental concerns, how our environment affects our life and our health. And we talk about public officials and their rights. We talk about obscenity and pornography as well in this course. We talk about discrimination, welfare, very controversial issues that the Supreme Court is usually the ultimate deciding factor.
So what subjects are covered in Business Law 1 and where the major emphasis on?
Well, our Business Law 1 class is what we would call contracts law. And we are teaching business students especially the types of contracts that they will have to deal with in the business world, and how to identify a contract, what makes up a contract. Most of the time in Law 1 is spent with contracts and sales geared toward the business person or the merchant, the person with the goods that they can ship and sell to different places. So Business Law 1 is basically a course in contract law.
Okay, law and the media, which is a new course taught here in LACC. Could you kind of emphasize on that and tell us a little bit about that?
Right. Well, law and the media I have to kind of call my baby, because it was a course that I designed and a course that I submitted to the Academic Senate and the Curriculum Committee for its approval, and it was approved here at City College, not only for the law department, but it got also summary approval by the radio, TV, film department, the journalism department, the media arts department, photography, and also broadcasting and television. So law and the media combines all the areas of entertainment and gives the student the legal aspects of entertainment. And as we know, the entertainment field is very, very broad. But law covers everything, and there are laws that govern entertainment, that govern the things that we can or cannot say over the air, the types of actions that can or cannot be done, as well as FCC rules and regulations. There are numerous lawsuits brought by entertainers every day, such as, of course, the recent or famous Carol Burnett lawsuit for a legal tort called libel. And there are many legal ramifications to the contracts that entertainers have to sign, and many of them don't realize that before they perform, they must sign an agreement. And it's that contract that really is their first introduction, and it's that contract that is so essential and so important to what they're doing while they are entertaining. Therefore, entertainment law is a must for entertainers. And don't let me leave out the musicians or the athletes, because music permeates every field of entertainment. There's music behind television shows, there's music in a musical, of course, there's music in theater, there's music everywhere. So we put a great deal of emphasis in our law and the media class on music. Copyright law, the rights of musicians, songwriters' contracts, etc.
Okay. As you know, I'm into the media aspect of broadcasting. So what would you give me as pointers as to, would this be a required course for me? Should I take it as to be aware as a black person being aware of the media? Would this be a great course for that?
Yes, I think every person in entertainment should take this course for two reasons. The first reason is because in the course I am giving the students all the contracts that they need and that they will see in their industry. Also, I am giving them information that will make them more well-rounded. In other words, historically we have thought of an entertainer or an artist as somebody who can only make us or entertain us, make us laugh, make us dance. But in reality, entertainment is more than that. We know it's big business. We know that media and advertising shapes our thoughts and our everyday lives. Therefore, I think it's important for people to know what their agents are doing, what their managers are talking about, certain things such as residuals, royalties, exclusivity clauses, and contracts. It will make us, and it will make entertainers, far more knowledgeable if they were to take this class and have some type of understanding as to why the industry works the way it does. And the emphasis that we put on the FCC, as you know, the FCC is the governing body for communications. The emphasis and the explanation that we give with respect to the FCC, I think, is essential for anyone who is in any form of broadcasting or any form of entertainment to really understand why the FCC is there, why there are even questions about deregulation of radio, the legal ramifications of low-power TV systems, satellites, video, etc. So I think that it's essential for you as well as any other person who is interested in entertainment. And one more reason that I think it's important is because it tends to give students another avenue to pursue. In other words, every student will not make it as an entertainer. Everyone will not make it into TV production. Everyone will not make it as a disc jockey or into radio or into the theater or into music. But they tend to overlook the fact that they can represent those who do. They can be agents, and the agents and managers make more money, and they make their money much more easily than the artists themselves. The agents and managers and lawyers don't have to go on the road. They don't have to go through many of the heartaches and hassles that the entertainer himself or herself has to endure. Therefore, law opens up a totally different avenue for students to consider, because most students are not aware that with an AA in any subject, you can go right here in Los Angeles to at least 3 law schools, and in 3 years graduate with a law degree and begin to practice law within 3 years of having an AA. And you can still entertain, you can still do the other things that you're interested in, but meanwhile you'll have something to fall back on and another avenue to pursue. And I think in these days and times it's essential for people to be well-rounded. It's too late for us to be one-tracked and be able to do only one thing. I think students should diversify and be able to do at least 2 things well.
Okay, so are you saying as most agents, are they lawyers, or should they be lawyers, or at least know the legal background of this,
Definitely. They should definitely know the legal ramifications of what their actions would create for their clients. But most agents are not lawyers. Most managers are not either. In California, you may need to be licensed to be an agent. Most lawyers, however, are strictly that. They practice law and they will help you with your legal battles and your contracts. But the agent secures employment and does other things. So the agent does need to know law. Yes, definitely. And this course will give him enough law to be an excellent agent.
Oh, thank you. Okay, very interesting. In case you're just now tuning in, we are talking with Dr. Vanita Releford. We'll be back after this message from our sponsor.